Okay, welcome. Today we are going to be creating a 3D printable coaster. I'm going to begin by having a quick flick over the notes that I've just talked you through to remind myself of my plan of attack. So looking at my notes, I can see that I'm going to create a 70mm diameter disc that is 5mm in height. So I'm going to do that by creating a sketch, creating that imaginary piece of paper that I'm going to draw upon, and I'm going to create my sketch on this bottom plane here. I'm going to go over to the circle tool. The shortcut for the circle tool on the keyboard is a C, so I'm just going to click C. I'm going to start in the middle of my piece of paper, and I'm going to pull out the circle. Now I want this to be 70mm in diameter, so I'm going to type in 70 and hit enter. Excellent. I'm going to use the cube up in the right hand corner here just to have a look at that circle from a different angle. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click finish sketch. Next I'm going to make it three-dimensional, so I'm going to go over to the extrude tool, which is over here. Again, there's a shortcut for it, the extrude tool, and that is the letter E. So I'm going to click E. Now, seeing as it's the only profile or only sketch that we've drawn thus far, the extrude tool is clever enough to know that that's the closed shape that we are going to make three-dimensional. So I'm going to drag up here. Now we don't want this to be 60mm in height. We want it to be 5. So in this information box here, I can just whack in 5. Excellent. That looks good to me. Happy with that. So I'm going to hit enter. There we go. We've got a simple disc. Now the next mission is to put on the feet at the base of the disc. So I'm going to look at the bottom of the model by toggling the cube up here. And I can select this bottom face. And then I can go and create a sketch upon it. So we're creating another piece of paper, but on the bottom side of the disc. Once we click that sketch button, our camera will swivel round so that we're looking at where we're drawing. Now, I want our feet to be equally spaced. So what I'm going to do is turn on construction line, because I'm going to use a line to measure from the center point here outwards to make sure that the center of the circle that I'm going to extrude for the feet are all evenly spaced. So I'm going to hit L for line. L for line. If we hover over the line tool, we can see that the shortcut is L for line. And I'm going to start in the middle and drag outwards. Now I want this to be 25mm from the center. There we go. I'm going to create another line from the center outwards, 25mm. Excellent. Now, these black dots represent where we want the middle of our feet to go. So I'm now going to deselect the construction line tool. The only reason we've made these construction lines is because they're not going to directly impact any three-dimensional forms later on. We've merely used them as lines to measure those 25mm gaps. You might wonder why I've only done 2 when I need 4 feet, but I'll show you why in a moment. Anyway, let's create the circles that we're going to extrude for the feet, remembering that the shortcut for circle is C. So I'm going to click C, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to bring it out 10mm and hit enter. And again, C for circle, bringing out 10mm and hitting enter. Now I'm going to introduce a more complex tool here, but a good friend of ours and one that we will use many times in our CAD careers. We're going to use the mirror tool. Now this tool isn't as commonly used, so there is no shortcut for it on our keyboard, but we're going to click mirror tool. Now when we click that tool, another box pops up, and this box is asking us a few questions. Well, the first one is, what objects do we want to mirror? Well, we want to mirror this circle here. What do we want to mirror into? Well, remember that line we drew earlier? Over here, we can mirror it there. And then all of a sudden, it pops up over here. And I'm happy with that, so I click OK. I want to use that same function again, so I'm going to go back over to mirror. And this time I want to mirror this circle here. Which line do I want to mirror it into? Well, remember earlier, we drew this line, and I can whack that there. Oh, look, we've got 4 perfectly spaced circles, and I'm happy with that. Okay, here we go. I'm happy with where everything's spaced. I'm happy that it's nice and flat on the bottom of that disc. So I'm going to click Finish Sketch. Now I want to extrude some feet. So I'm going to go to the Extrude tool, or I can hit E for Extrude. We go over to our question box here, and it's saying profiles. What does that mean? Well, profiles, it means what do I want to extrude? I want to extrude this circle here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. Excellent. So that's what I'm making 3D. Now, it's saying distance. How big do they want to be? Do they want to be 100 millimeters? No, that's probably too big. Do they want to be 0.1 millimeter? Probably too small. I'm going to go along to the notes I drew up earlier. And what did I say? 2 millimeters. And that looks okay to me. Now there's some more questions in here. There's the operation. It's saying join, cut, intersect, new body or new component. Well, seeing as I'm 3D printing this object, I want the whole thing to be one solid body. So I'm going to click join. And this will join those feet to the main disc here. If I was making a model that was representative of a product that maybe had sort of stick-on foam feet, I would most likely click new body, because that would mean that these new 3D forms that we are creating were not attached to the main disc, and that would mean that I could apply a different color or a different material to them within the Fusion 360 world in which we're operating. But on this occasion, we will be 3D printing this as one solid body. So I'm going to click join. I'm happy with that, so I click OK. I'm going to click the home button up here. And all of a sudden, we've got our coaster with little feet on the bottom. Perhaps I want to show off a bit. And I want to add a nice chamfer to the edges of my coaster. So I'm going to go to the modify drop down. We haven't touched on the modify drop down yet, but the purpose of the tools in this section are to sort of edit or slightly alter or modify existing 3D shapes. So I'm going to go along to the chamfer tool here. I might apply a chamfer to the bottom edge here and the top edge here. And what this tool does is it just gently takes the edge off and applies a nice chamfer to the edge of our product. I might apply a fillet using the shortcut F or clicking the fillet tool to the edge of our feet and also to the point where the feet join the main body. Let's see what that does. One's a bit much, so I might go for 0.5 millimeter. That's a bit softer. Excellent. And I click OK. Happy with that. Really quickly, we've got quite a stylish coaster that we can 3D print.